In today's video, we're going to be stripping the bottom end of the MK5 Golf GTI and seeing if the oil pump failure is the reason my cylinder head seized. So for those of you who saw the last video on this car, we have stripped the MK5 GTI engine because it was a non-runner, cam belt snapped. We thought it was just due to the age of the belt, but it turns out that the cam belt snapped due to a lack of oil at the top end, which made the bearings run rough, and it seized the camshafts, which then snapped the cam belt. So that is as far as we've got so far. So in today's video, I'll be getting the MK5 onto the ramp, we'll get it in the air, we'll take the sump off, we will have a look at the oil pump, see if the gauze is blocked up, and if the gauze all looks okay, we'll go ahead and start stripping the oil pump, and we'll go from there. So let's crack on, get the MK5 onto the ramp. I do also have another BWA second-hand head in this box here, which does need to get sent away to get pressure tested, skimmed and cleaned, but I will show you more about that later on. So what we're going to do now is just drain all the oil from the sump, and then it's quite simple, just all the bolts around the outside of the sump, remove them, bring the sump down, and then we'll check our oil pump, which basically sits at the bottom there. What I'm also going to do as well is when I remove the engine oil, I'm going to use like a fine sieve, which I'd normally use for paint, pour the oil through that and just see if we can see any if there's fine metal shavings that have been circulating around the engine, then that is not a good sign. So yeah, we're going to do that. Right, I've got a really fine, as I say, paint filter here, so this might take a while because it's probably not going to filter that quickly. So yeah, so I'm quite happy that the oil draining there isn't contaminated. It all looks good. I will show you the gauze in a minute, but nothing was in the gauze at all. The gauze was completely clean. There was no metal filings in there at all. Yeah, so there is the inside of the gauze. You won't be able to see much, but there's no metal filings or anything in there. It is really nice and clean. The only thing it's picked up is some coolant, which is obviously going to be normal because we took the head off, so coolant would have got down the oil lines. But other than that, no, it's fine, absolutely fine. Now, I did suspect that that would be the case purely because obviously the damage is quite localized to these two cam bearings right at the back of the head. The rest of the camshaft being relatively undamaged, and there's also not really any deposits or metal shavings anywhere else in the head. It was literally just right in this corner here. So what's probably happened is it's quite evolved pretty quickly. It's got hot, started to melt and seized pretty quick before. Well, if the oil pump's not working and there's no oil in the top of the head anyway, then there wouldn't have been any oil to carry it around the rest of the engine. So I'm fairly confident that the issue here is localized to this part of the head. I use a block of wood because I can't find a hammer. Right, so here is our oil pump and gauze, and if you can see there, look, there is our gauze which picks up the oil from the sump. It looks fairly clogged up from here, but what we'll do is really easy to remove. It's just that one bolt there, look. We'll pull that pipe off and we'll have a good look round. I can't see anything else obvious at the moment. The chain, the oil pump drive chain is intact and all looks okay, but we will just turn the engine over and see if we can see the oil pump actually actuating. I'm fairly confident it is the pickup pipe at this point, but we will obviously test it before we put everything back together. Right, I'm just going to quickly have a look at the oil pump first, and I can spin the engine over nice and easily, and I can see that the chain is all intact, tensioner is nice and tight, there's nothing, that's all nice and free. Sorry about the jerky hands. No, it all looks good here. And if we move around to this side, you may not be able to see it from here, but the balance shafts are both turning nicely. And I can see in where the pickup pipe was, and I can physically see the oil pump working in there. And I can hear every so often the nice suction noise it makes. So I'm fairly confident at this point that the oil pump is okay. So we've got the pickup pipe here, look, and yeah, I don't know what you can see there, but it seems fairly obvious that this is definitely our issue. I mean, it's pretty much blocked. If I just put torch there, look, I'll just put my, can you hear that? That is just loads of grit. I'll just put it all over there, like you can see. Just, I mean, it's maybe never been changed. It's a genuine part, so I mean, it may have been changed, but it is yeah, definitely blocked up. So I'm fairly confident at this point that the pickup pipe is our fault. Oh, I've got 4 injectors as well, so at least I can hopefully make 4 good injectors out of, I think I've got, well, yeah, 8. First things first, I suppose, let's see if it turns. I don't want to rotate it too much because it's absolutely filthy. However, looks alright. So yeah, on the face of it, it looks like it's okay. The camshafts are both turning. Cam chain looks good, so nothing looks damaged, although it is absolutely filthy. There is grit everywhere. So what I'm going to do is, I'll do it off camera, but this needs to go obviously be tested, so I am going to just strip it down, take it to be tested. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know if you can see the back. The valves all look okay. All look fairly clean under there. So yeah, I'll send the head away. That's the first thing I'll do. Get that pressure tested, skimmed, make sure everything's okay, and then if it is, then I'll send off these 4 injectors. The 4 injectors that I've got on the standard one as well, I'll get those all tested, and I'll get the 4 best ones back. And yes, then we'll probably put a new chain on here. We'll just fit some all new service bits, but yeah, we'll do that once this all comes back. And next, in the meantime, I obviously need to order a pickup pipe, and I'm also, while I'm here and the turbo is hanging off there, look, I am going to now remove the turbo so we can check that over as well. Yeah, so I am now going to remove the turbo, as I've got it half out pretty much anyway. Yeah, we'll remove that, check it, because obviously if there's oil starvation to the head, then the turbo is one of the last places that oil gets to as well. So we may have an issue with the turbo, so I don't want to put it all back together and obviously run it up and then find that the turbo's gone as well. So we're going to whip that off now and have a good look at that too. Right, I think I've undone most of the connections to the turbo, so I'm hoping I can just pull it out. It's a lot easier without the head on. This would be a lot more difficult normally. Right. Alright, over it, out of the way. Yep, so yeah, got the turbo out, left most of the pipes connected just because it was a bit easier. One thing I did notice, which is a bit odd, see this hose clip here for the intercooler pipe. Now it should have a clip here which actually holds the pipe in. Now the reason I had to take this hard pipe out with the turbo is because if you notice, look, this is actually missing the clip. The clip should be sitting there just like this one is in the recess, but yeah, it's completely missing, and it was actually, couldn't get it out. I could not get this out at all. So, well, it's just a testament to show you how much it's stuck in there, because it hasn't needed a clip to stop it from coming out. So yeah, that is why that came out like that. But let's just spin it around and get to the turbo. Oh, here she is. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, so the turbo's not great. Right, so it's quite hard to show you, but we've got a little bit of play, which is again hard to show you, but can you hear that? That knocking? That's me only able to turn the turbine about 3/4 of a centimetre before it gets to a hard stop both sides, and obviously it should not do that. So I think we should get it on the bench and strip it down. Right, I'm now just going to put it on a time lapse, strip this turbo down to the core and find out exactly why it's got such little movement in the turbo. So it's quite easy to remove the, well, split the turbo apart in the end. It was just 4 bolts to remove the exhaust manifold side, and then another 4 bolts to remove the intake side, which gives us our core here. At first glance, I thought it was maybe an aftermarket one because of the writing here. I'm still not 100% sure, but it does have a date stamp of the 30th of November 2005, and obviously the car's a 55 plate, so you would have thought that means it's the standard unit for the car, but just this date here that's on it just makes me think that it's maybe not genuine, but I don't really know. Anyway, our issue is, yeah, it's seized. So I can turn it, that's as much as it turns, and then it gets like a block, but then you can push through it, but it's just very rough, and then it skips, and yeah, so seized. So we need a new core. So yeah, that's probably due to oil starvation, although when I did remove the oil pipes, oil did come out of them, so it wasn't fully starved, but the fact that it's 150,000 miles old, that turbo potentially, and obviously what, 16, 17 years old, it hasn't done too bad anyway. So yeah, we need to find either a core or a second-hand turbo for that. I don't know what we're going to do with it yet. So yeah, the list goes on. So the plans are now, we need to get a pickup pipe, the head needs to go off to be reconditioned, the injectors need to go off to be flow tested, what else we need, obviously all the parts for head gasket kit, cam belt, timing kit, water pump, we also need to reseal the sump, the oil pump I'm happy is okay, what else have we got, new turbo, and then yeah, I think there's a big list of parts that I now need to get this running. I was also thinking, let me know in the comments what you think. And by the way, it's got a new ABS pump on it as well in the corner now. I only spotted that the other day. Because obviously I've got the head off, the turbo's off now as well, the inlet manifold's off, so all the hard bits are off the car. So to actually remove the engine is actually a pretty simple job. I would probably just take the front end off, so it would just be bumper, headlights, lock carry at the front, and then it's just a case of drive shafts, engine mounts. It wouldn't be too bad. The only downside is obviously I'd have to lose the aircon gas, so I'd have to get it re-gassed, which would cost about 60 quid, but it wouldn't actually be that difficult to take the engine out, and it would aid the rebuild a lot better, so it'd just be a lot more controlled rebuilding it, a lot more space to do it, and also I can build all the cam belt up, head up properly with the engine outside the vehicle, and it'd just be a lot nicer to do, I think. So let me know in the comments, shall I just leave the engine in situ and rebuild it back up, or shall I just take it out, rebuild it, and then refit it? Let me know what you think, because I'm 50-50. And also, do I get a decat downpipe, or do I just knock that out? Shh. So that is it for today's video, guys. Long shopping list for the Mark 5 GTI, so I need to obviously get all that sorted out. So the next video on this is probably going to be a few weeks away, maybe a bit longer as well. And also, I didn't tell you the saga of the head. So I said on, I don't know if I said in the last video, I bought a head and it never turned up on eBay. I ended up having to buy another head, and now there's a dispute with the delivery company with the first one, so there's a claim open against that. So yeah, so I went ahead and bought another second-hand head. So yeah, that is where we're up to on the GTI, so need to assemble all my parts, and the next video on this will be in a few weeks. So as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this video. Please do subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and obviously the continuation of the Mark 5 engine rebuild. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.